Okay, will they stay?
Yeah, they have feet at the bottom.
Yeah, they have them there. So my idea is, let me know how you feel about this. Alright, today we are going to pick up the keys for our store and do some measuring so that we can get an idea of how much carpet we need, because I think we're going to do some kind of like really short arcade carpet in there, and then also we probably should get an idea of how much paint we need. But yeah, we're going to go see the store empty. We already got to see it the other day. We're going to show you guys what it looked like. If you're doing taxes for your business, which you should be, make sure you're tracking your mileage. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen, we have secured the money order for the first, the last, and the deposit, bringing us to a total of $575, which really is not that bad. So let's see what we can do with this. This has been chaotic. We had an entire list of things to do when we left the house. None of those things have been accomplished other than getting a money order. But now we realized we also needed to pull money to go pay somebody for some shelves for the store. So we're on our way to go do that. We're paying $200 for 5 shelves. And that will just be to put product on. They were not the type of shelves we wanted originally, but we are working with what we can do at this point in time with the intention of changing things later. Michael's on his way to go take the money. He found a cat. All right, he's out. I also just realized, again, we need to stop by the hardware store. But there's somebody doing a garage sale over there. Let's go get a lock. I'm just saying, there's probably a few things we can use.
Yeah, there's things here that can be good for the store, but probably not today.
He didn't touch it.
This one says take each for 2 weeks, so it's not compatible.
None of these are what we need. Okay, they did not have the type of lock we needed, but we got something in the meantime. And then I looked at their paint section and I found the Tinker's colors in their paint section. They don't really look like the Tinker's colors on screen, but in person, they look like the Tinker's colors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, not that door, but this third door right here is gonna be where we have our little store. And we don't actually have an appointment until 3, but we're gonna see if she is willing to chat at 1. We have officially gotten the restroom key and a receipt, and we're ready to go look at it empty.
Okay, so we just paid for our first month lease and everything else that we needed to do. We got a lock, which we will go ahead and put on here in a moment, and it's been gutted, but let's walk inside.
So in the first video, I said it's not much. It's not much. But what we do have going for us now is some starting shelves. We have one in our storage unit that we're going to have some product going in. And we have a general layout that we've already talked about in our videos and we have sketched out that Hallie made for us to try to give us an outline. And so having the space available and empty, we can actually start seeing and taking measurements. What do we want to put in? What direction do we want to put it in? Do adjustments need to be made? How much walking spaces are going to be? Like our original plan, so we wanted to put a bunch of claw machines and electronic ones here. Then our realization as things start to clear out, so there's no actual power outlets over here. So you have to go all the way back over in this area, which is supposed to be our register space, kind of privacy corner, I guess, and run from there to over there. Is that something we still want to do, or is that something that's going to make us want to change our plans? So now that we're actually in here and we are able to freely come and go, we can start looking into what paint makes the most sense, you know, how much, what would it be, carpet tiles, I guess, to actually fill the space.
Yeah, so this is one thing to note. We're dealing with some cement flooring in here. Obviously, it's not in the best condition. I don't want to paint this floor because we're renting this place, and I don't know that the owner would be okay with that. So we will need to figure something out for the flooring. Our idea was to run carpet tiles up to our personal area because we don't really necessarily care about the flooring in our personal area. It's mostly just this area. We want to look more cohesive, more clean. So maybe up to like right here, we'll be running some carpet tile. We have a spot to tie in internet. The electric for the space is completely separate. We're going to have hopefully some kind of register right here in this area. There is a game store person who has a register that we're going to be able to use or borrow. I don't know if you want to explain that situation a bit more.
We're going to try to work with the game store owner who's in a local town of ours who does a lot of trading cards and game rentals. But he primarily focuses on trading cards and graded cards and stuff. And so he's giving us a glass display counter that locks. And our idea is to try to use that as a display case, but we can also use that as our register and have our POS on it. We don't have the dimensions for it. I've seen it, but we didn't have the idea of what the space looked like. So we're coming to try to get some measurements of the room in every aspect, draw it out, and then figure out what we can do with it.
So how about these shelves right here? How much did we spend on those?
Those would have been $150 for all of them. They may not be exactly what we're looking for. They're kind of more of a starting shelf, but we paid $200 just to be nice. And hopefully this can get us at least, if not in the main walkway where people are ordering stuff, if this can just get us some organizational space behind the counter, I'll be happy.
My idea was, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do this because I don't know if we're going to have enough of them to do this, but I think I wanted to take and just line this wall with them, because ultimately in the long term, if we are here long enough, we'd like to do slat shelving on that wall. But in the meantime, I'd like to dedicate that wall to some sort of shelving in the meantime. So I think that's what these are going to be possibly used for. And then in our last video, we had another shelf in our storage unit that I showed you disassembled. We're probably going to be putting that back here to start storing like products and stuff. Michael's going to start doing the TCG player card selling. He's doing that in collaboration with the other game store out of town. And so we're going to need a place to store bulk cards to make that happen.
Lots of them.
Now, another thing you've probably noticed is this window right here. This window, I'm not sure what we're going to do about it yet, because I don't really want to leave it uncovered. It goes, I mean, you can see where it goes. It goes into a storage area for the tenant next door. And they're running like a little thrift shop. So, I mean, it's cluttered. It's a little bit of a mess. It's covered in tape. Honestly, I'd like to find some way to just cover these windows up, but we haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know. We're gonna hopefully be putting machines here. I don't know if we can add another outlet there, but we're gonna try to find a safe way to run something from there to here so that we can actually put machines here. And if that's the case, at least the bottom part of this will be covered, but I still think we need to find like a cohesive way to cover that. There is one benefit to this place, and that's that there is a little bit of built-in security because you have your normal door, but you also have this big thing that rolls down and covers things up at night. So there's some extra built-in security there. Obviously, carrying electronics and stuff, it's probably gonna be wanted.
It's hard to kind of have a concrete idea of what the final product is gonna look like, but what we do have going for us is now that we have paid, we are able to be here as much as we want, whatever times we want. So if we want to show up, you know, in the middle of the night at some point and just start sketching out and planning things, or if we get stuff in the mail at like 6 in the afternoon and we have stuff to do and we want to bring it over later, you know, now we can start assembling and we can start planning. All of this was hypothetical, but starting now, we can actually start working on it for real.
Yeah, so pull that decal down. We may decide to keep the paint. I don't think so though. What do you think?
The decal?
I want to pull the decal down for sure, but after that's down.
Oh no, it is decal. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it down.
So my idea is, I mean, if we pull this down, I mean, this paint was done throughout the whole thing. It's not like it's patchy paint. I mean, the paint is done. It even goes back into this back area. If we could sit with the paint for a little while, I mean, it'd be put together. So
one of the great things about a retail space that I think is going to help us is when people come in, they make a first impression off of the paint and how everything looks. So to have a store that is encompassed by games, claw machines, toys, color, it decorates the store kind of naturally without needing to focus on a lot of the fine details. So if we have to do a soft opening where there's not a lot of paint and we just get in, you know, carpet tiles and products and shelves and maybe some LED strips, it might be enough to at least get started.
Start, if we're gonna be doing this, maybe start with figuring out the flooring situation, because if we can figure out what we want to do for the flooring and get an idea of what it looks like with the paint, it might be more worth our investment to go get a color match for this paint and just patch up where it needs done. Like up here, for instance, they used to have a shelving unit that was set up here, and you can see it kind of needs some work. So if we could get a color match for this paint instead and just touch up the spots where it needs it, like that corner, I think that would be a cost-effective way to at least give us a clean slate to work with. Another thing I'm considering, at least when it comes to covering this window, if we could run some kind of slats from here to like here and here to here and just paint match everything. I mean, it's not an ideal solution, but it would at least get it covered up and looking cohesive. Another thing we have that's kind of just a picky thing, we have some mismatched light fixtures up here. And I don't think a lot of people are probably gonna notice that, but it keeps bugging me.
Yeah, you know, they're both really nice, but if there was any of the two that I would keep, it'd be those ones.
Well, and part of me wonders if we could take one of these light fixtures here, my dad could probably help us with that, take one of them and just move it to this one instead and patch up whatever's there so that there's just one here and one there.
Like at the same time on both sides?
No, I mean there's two different fixtures here. You could cap this one and then move it to where this one is. Maybe even take this one and move it to our area where there is no lighting. So it's an idea. There's a lot of different things we could do.
I wonder how, if we could find one like that and just put that one there and then like just move
I think I found these on Amazon. I think I saw them on Amazon because I think I was trying to figure that same thing out.
We're gonna have a lot of work to do.
And this whole spot is open, and if we wanted to throw like a desk back here for you to work on TCG player or something, we could. And I think 2 shelves side by side, not only will only needing to get one more be more cost effective, but it also will just make it so that
I'm completely open to this space, like absolutely. I think the thing that's gonna really help right now is start getting the big fixtures in, getting the paint corrected and getting the floors started.
paint, floors, lighting.
I think that'll make this place look hundreds of % better, and then just, so I think what we're gonna try to do this next month, I don't know how you feel, but I think the things we should start focusing on is any shelving we can get, minus what we already have for the back, paint, like color correcting paint that matches this to get started. And then those floor tiles were cheap enough, but then we can see how the space looks with those tiles and how it runs in contrast with the color of the walls. So if we start with that, it's a really cheap start that I think will start to bring this place more to life, and then, you know, we can figure out the space.
And it's like you said too, I mean, when people, well, what did you say? Give me 1 second. I was going somewhere with that. Oh, that's what you were saying. The stuff we're stocking our stores with is kind of
a decoration in itself.
Are you gonna line them up too to see if there's enough room?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna set this up and I'll help. Because I was just wondering about that same thing.
You know, the 3 head will sit there. Now that we can actually,
Oh dear. Flash it, right?
now that we can actually see the space,
You can actually have, it has to be more than that. I just want to see how much room we have to work with, because I might want to here. Okay, will they stay?
yeah, they have feet at the bottom.
Yeah, they have one there. So my idea is, let me know how you feel about this. Okay.
So,
Okay, well we got the idea, so let's just leave it. This is all of our shelves on this side and this side. We don't have room for this 5th shelf. I'm sure we could use it if we could find a spot for it, but ideally with what we have in mind, I don't think we're gonna need it. Right here, we wanna do something free to play for the kids. Here you go, I'll explain. So we wanna do something free to play for the kids. That's one of the selling points we wanna have because it gives them a reason to come in, even if they don't have money. Maybe a kid's not gonna have money all the time, but if you give them something free to do and a place to enjoy, even if they don't, when they do have money, they're gonna wanna come in. Their parents are gonna wanna come in and support you because you're giving their kids something to do. That's our idea behind it. So we're gonna have 2 one-up arcade cabinets over on this wall. This is ideally gonna be our arcade wall in general. We'd like to add some minis, we'd like to add some match cuts. We wanna make the most of this space. We're still figuring out exactly how we're gonna do that, but we know we're gonna have 2 free-to-play, one-up arcade cabinets. Mike is gonna get to pick which ones those are, because I don't know anything about them. I want to do a TV right here, like right at eye level with kiddos, so they have something to do. I have a little shelf underneath this TV, and that's gonna hold one of those retro game consoles. You've probably seen like the Super Nintendo consoles that are done by Nintendo, and they have some preloaded games, so usually between like 30 and 40 games on them. We're looking for the one that's actually done by Nintendo, and we want to have that set up for kids who want to play Donkey Kong and Zelda and stuff like that. And I know it seems contradictory to like try to start a store to generate an income and provide free options like that, but at the same time, those free options give people a reason to come in. That gives us a way that on our community Facebook page every week or so we can advertise, hey, we have this console available for you to play this week. Come in and check out the store, come in and take a look at that. People don't have to come in just to spend money, but by coming in and giving them that opportunity to kind of enjoy the space, they're gonna want to. They're gonna need a drink because they've been here for 3 hours.
The other idea we can do is instead of saying, you know, console of the day, since there's going to be with 2 consoles, 60 preloaded games, you could just say game of the day and do the game of the day is, you know, Zelda.
Play Donkey Kong with your friends.
And that way they can't change the games and mess with things that might like tamper with things. They can just play the game that's already open the second we get here. So if it's, you know, game of the day today is Donkey Kong, come give it a try and relive your nostalgic, you know.
I think that's a great idea. And there's 2 different consoles we want to do. We want to do
PS1 Classic.
Okay, yeah, PS1 Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic, and then I think there's an NES Classic, so we may end up with 3, we'll see. But ideally, we're looking at only spending right around $500 to make this happen. I know that seems like a lot, but I think that alone is going to be a reason for people to come in, even some of the older people here in town. So,
Yeah.
and I know you're probably thinking, you know, what if every kid in town wants to come in? I don't care. It's fine. We're trying to build a sense of community here. I think that's the best selling point, is the sense of community.
Sure is not a lot of space to put products yet, and we'll just have to burn that bridge when we get there, but
Ideally, I think we have enough shelves that we can do something with this.
it's the fact that the shelves are awkwardly organized to where it's just going to be like, you know, if we have 100 pop figures, we may only be able to put out 20, and then as one sells, we put one to refresh it, which is okay because that keeps things always stocked. So it's not a lot of stock to select through immediately. But one of the great things about working with a local game store is anything that we don't have, he's already told us, give him a call and, you know, we can place orders. So we can middleman what we don't have for someone who will likely have, you know, stuff that people might be seeking out. I like her idea about doing the TV and the console thing there. And then the idea, if you turn around, we don't know what we're doing with that shelf yet, so it's just there, is we're thinking a couple of those gift shop machines, which like really the OG minis, I guess, kind of sandwiched between some arcade cabinets, the one-ups that are free, and maybe some of those 3-inch ones that we have at our fudge shop, those 3-inch capsule machines, because that offers 2-inch, 1-inch capsules. You can do gum, and you know that kind of makes it to where it's a 4-to-2 ratio of machines that earn an income versus machines that are free. And we just want to be able to offer a little variety of everything. So if we can offer capsules and Pokeballs and gum flavors, but also some free games and pop figures to buy and trading cards, and you know, maybe even be able to do buyback programs where we buy other people's stuff.
And long term, I mean, we wanted to see the buyback thing is going to be huge. We need to get some capital going first before we can do that. But long term, I'm taking stickers off of these shelves, by the way, for the old owner. We long term would like to do slap shelving on this thing, but we may decide that's not worth our money until we move into a bigger space. The other people that were in this space were in here for a year, and the foot traffic apparently is really, really good in this spot, which I mean, there's somebody walking by right now,
So there's literally good foot traffic. So my idea is when these shelves are mounted and they're flush and we get the TV in, I think maybe 12, 14 inches above, we run hanging shelves flush all the way along for really big stuff. So like really big, like 24-inch plushies, or like really big. So like if there's toys that are like massive plushies that are like 24 inches, or like those like signature pop figures that are really big.
like basically all of our like high value items up there.
Right. And we can grab them for people, but my idea is if we want to have some product that will not fit on these shelves and are big, we run things on the top, because then that's something people see right when they come in, is bigger, interesting stuff. So
I don't know if this is something you're even like open to considering right now, but depending on how we put our register, we may be able to put this shelf right here just as a spot to set things, and then we would still probably have plenty of room right here. We don't need a ton of room back here to work on stuff. We just don't want it to be like a little tiny narrow walkway to go in.
Right.
So it's really dark back here. I'm not a big fan of that. But I'm wondering if maybe this shelf can go in this spot right here.
well, we do have power strip options so that we can get some light going in here. That would be fine. It's pretty flush.
If we put that right there, we can have our register going, you know, I don't know if it would be coming from this way or this way, honestly, yet at all. We may even decide that this isn't enough space with that register how it is. We may decide to run it from here to like here, but then I feel weird about having people walk back here.
My idea was at first was to kind of just have it right here for people to display right next to the counters, because then it's the closest for us to be able to unlock them. But at the same time,
It gives you
He's great.
He's mentoring us through all of this. I'm gonna do real fast while we're doing that, so that's fine. Let's get some measurements for this so we can start figuring out carpet.
Well, that's what I was going. Well, no. Before we do that, the reason I was pulling this out is because I want to get this wall with a semi idea what we might want to do with it, and then take everything.
How long are we? How long are we?
It's 12 foot right here.
Does it not go further than that?
No,
No. Pull it tight. What are we at?
12 feet.
Okay. Now keep your finger there.
I know we have about 13 feet.
I know, but we need to go to the end to bring this measurement.
It's gonna. I should be more than enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, finger to stay. And I'm sure that will be more than enough. I'm measuring to the end of the room. Good? Okay, so 12 feet plus,
6.
so at least 19, we'll say about 20 feet that way. And just make sure that space fence there. I just need to see how long we are on this side for carpeting, because ideally that's one of the first things we should probably do. We're at a 8.5 feet, so we'll say 9 feet on this side. My phone's about to die.
Okay, so final recap. This is the front of the store. Definitely is going to need some paint, a little bit of work done on it. But this is the shop we were in. This is the shop right next to it, which is a bathroom, a restroom. This isn't open to the public. This is just so we can use a space and, have a place to sit or, heat up some food or just use the restroom really quick. So definitely for the $175 price, I think it's good to have something that is kind of available to the employees and be able to just use and have the space, because we were planning on doing all of this behind the counter and there's just not a lot of space to do those little things at the same time. So
Just dawned on me, what time is it? Alright, we just placed our first order for the store. We're going to have most of this showing up tomorrow, and then we'll have a couple things showing up later this week or next week. We got some masking tape. We're going to be doing the painting and the carpeting first, and then we got some screws to actually set up those shelves, because we'll need to screw them into the wall. We got an extension pole because last time we tried painting we killed our neck, and I didn't like that and I didn't want to deal with that. We got some microfiber paint rollers because that wall has a bit of texture on it, so these will help us paint over the texture. We got a drywall repair kit, so hopefully we can patch any of those holes that are in there, sand them down, and make them look nice before we do our painting. 2 paint rollers because there will be 2 of us. 2 paint trays. These little paint stick things, I don't actually know if we needed those, but I heard you're supposed to mix your paint, and maybe that was my problem the first time. We also have 2 normal paint brushes just for like getting corners. And then we also have the carpeting that we're going to be doing. We have 240 square feet of this carpeting right here. It's just black, nothing special. And then we have the paint we're doing. We decided we're going to go ahead and paint the place white, only because I think if we stick with the paint that's there, we're going to be regretting it down the road. So that total came out to, our total for that order came out to $457, and that is definitely our biggest investment into this store so far, aside from, of course, the actual rent deposit and, all that. But I think we'll be able to get the base done with this.